loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run. Yes, we are loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another season of HLS TV. I'm Molly Moran here with Ryan Ritter, and we're back. It's another season of Notre Dame football and subsequently another season of HLS TV. We're excited to be back for our second season. And
Yes.
and ready to talk about the Texas game. So Notre Dame opened against the Texas Longhorns on Saturday, and it went pretty well on all fronts, I would say.
I would say that's
Ryan?
a pretty accurate description. It went well. It definitely went well.
Did go well. I mean, I guess we should just hit the ground running and kind of start talking about some of the things that I think people were probably talking about most before the season started. I would say that the hottest topic was probably our starting quarterback, Malik Zaire, and I think on Saturday he kind of put any doubts that anybody may have had to rest. I thought he looked fantastic. He, I think, completed, 18 of 22 passes. He looked amazing. What were your thoughts on Malik Zaire, Ryan?
He did phenomenal, and I forget the exact number that his completions were, but I do remember it being thrown out that he had
stats here on HLS TV. We just run with it.
Right. Well, I know he had 3 incompletions because that was talked about. He had as many incompletions as touchdowns.
Right.
He looked great. He looked phenomenal when he decided to use his feet as well. But I think what stood out to me the most was just, man, that attitude and bravado that he had coming into the season. It was on full display last night, and Texas had a respected defense. On my podcast had Mike Roach, and I mean, that's where the talent is on defense. Who knows about the offense? So Texas offensive struggles weren't too much of a surprise, but what Notre Dame did to them on the offense was a shock in my opinion. I don't know about you, but I felt it was shocking what we did to them.
I agree, because I'm a pretty positive person, but I thought they handled it like way better than I thought they were going to. I thought the most telling drive was when we started, we went 95 yards for that second touchdown. That was pretty impressive. I can't say that in other seasons I would have felt as comfortable starting back in our own territory and having to go 95 yards for a touchdown, and they made it look pretty easy. And I thought that was very impressive. And I was like, okay, I can hang with this team. I was like, all right.
And think about it. When's the last time our offense really put a hurting on a Power 5 opponent? I mean, we've seen this, against Rice. We saw it last year. We saw it against Navy in 2012. But, I mean, as far as the big blowouts, even when we dominated Michigan, what we did on offense was nowhere close to what we did on offense against Texas. So that's what blew me away. It was dominating, and the fans knew it. Texas knew it. So it was incredible.
It was. And I thought it was it was a balanced offense, I thought, as well. We can kind of get into some, maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to see how to which way I want to segue, because I'm kind of going so we ran, but then that reminds me of Terry Folston, which is sad. He's injured for the season, which is just awful. But I'm trying to think. My mind's all over the place. So we'll run with that. So running, which a lot of our fans want to see most of the time, it was actually pretty impressive because, as I said, Terry Folston did get hurt pretty early on in the game. We weren't sure he was going to be able to come back. They said no, couldn't come back for the game, and now it's been confirmed that he can't come back for the season. And so I was definitely worried. I wasn't sure how depth was at that position. And then I got a little less worried because I thought CJ Procise, for one, stepped up and looked incredible. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, as soon as he went down, I think everybody's mind went to, thanks, Greg Bryant. Appreciate it.
Exactly.
And then we forgot about Greg Bryant in short order. It's like, man, you really screwed up, kid, because there were definitely people behind you ready to take that spot. And Procise, I felt good about him being the number 2 running back as it was to begin with. I thought he would be great. What I wasn't expecting was Adams to be so good. And, your first carry goes for a touchdown. You get another touchdown in the game. I mean, have yourself a day in your first ever collegiate football game. And you know, the staff's been talking about depth for, you know, all off season, and that's what the message is. We need the depth. We need the depth. Hey, we got the depth this year, and they've come out and said it. We've got it, and it was on display. And again, it's one of those things where I can't remember, because that would be something that would be catastrophic. And now it's a side note. Yeah, Folston's out for the season, and that blows my mind.
Oh, I completely agree. And my dad and I were talking, and he was saying too, like, oh, I was listening to a press conference with Kelly, and he's talking about depth, and he's like, he's kind of putting himself out there. He's giving himself expectations to live up to. Because that's kind of not like him. He usually kind of lays low. And I was like, I know that's kind of worrisome. So it's not that I didn't believe the coaching staff that they had depth, but of course, when someone like Folston goes down, you're like, crap. Now we'll see if we actually have depth. And I feel a little bit better. So yes, I thought that CJ Procise and crap.
Josh Adams, I believe.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure his first name's Josh. I hope I got it right too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, I agree. For one, his first carry, I was like, that's pretty awesome. He's going to remember that forever. That's great. And I was like, holy crap, he's in the end zone again. Like, he's legit. So,
and I'm like sitting there, I'm like looking up the number on the roster. I'm like, I know it's a freshman. Which one is he? I forget.
I know. Yeah. So that was definitely, yay, running and rushing touchdowns and stuff.
Yes, we ran the damn ball, people, and we ran it well. And
I mean, honestly, I keep going off on tangents, but the other thing is Twitter in general was like quiet in a good way. I was like, I'm just going to make a comment. Like, I feel like we don't know how to function as like a generally happy fan base. I feel like we like weren't saying much, which was good.
Yeah, because I think the biggest criticism that I've seen has been one, I don't know how much stock you can really put into it, because I don't think you convince these folks one way or the other, was like, hey, it's the field turf's fault. I'm one of those people. It's football. Yeah. You could be playing on freaking mattresses and somebody's going to yank an ACL. So it's
exactly
things like that happen. It sucks. And, nobody wants to ever see that happen. And week 1 in general, I mean, across college football was awful. Pittsburgh's star running back is down. Clemson has a wide receiver that broke his neck hitting a goalpost.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, it was not good for most of college football. Week 1 across the board was brutal. So again, it's football. It happens. It's heartbreaking because, these aren't professionals. These are kids and they only have so much time. Folston, I'm sure he can medically redshirt if he wants to. He'll definitely be back next season. But, man, you don't want to see that. And, yeah, I think that was the one time Twitter freaked out.
Yeah, I agree, which was understandable. Yeah. That I will allow you to freak out about.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think in general, though, it's like, yeah, this is good. We're having fun here. This is awesome.
Exactly. So, rushing touchdowns, the passing game. Will Fuller, which I expected a lot from anyway, but I was like, oh my gosh, I want Zaire to Fuller all season long. Those passes were just gorgeous, textbook. Oh my gosh.
And again, we come back to the 3 incompletions all game long. And again, this is not a Pop Warner defense. This isn't, if we want to compare, Golson had 4 touchdowns. Yeah, he was playing Texas State, and it took him a half to figure it out, because I did watch as much of the game as I could since it was going on in parallel. But yeah, it was incredible. And my big criticism on Zaire, and you can go back to previous episodes of HLS TV, I said my biggest concern is he doesn't look like he has the touch with passes. Oh my dear God, did he have the touch? It didn't matter if it was short, mid-range, or a huge touchdown bomb that was 60-plus yards to Fuller. Looked absolutely incredible. You couldn't have asked for a better debut for Zaire. And, man, I mean, I hope that just keeps that momentum goes all the way from Virginia into the tough games against Georgia Tech and Clemson, because that is the kind of performance we are going to need out of Zaire. And he's going to make mistakes. It's got to happen. Exactly. He can't be perfect. But
I think the big thing with Zaire is just his confidence. I think and we haven't seen Zaire make enough mistakes maybe to see how he bounces back. But my initial gut instinct is that a big difference between Zaire and Golson are just kind of like their attitudes. Zaire, it just has so much like outward confidence. I think Golson is a little bit more of a quiet leader. And I've said it before, I was tweeting about it, even like at something like Football 101, where it's just like women having fun. Zaire was out there like oh my gosh, he was like teaching us how to pass, and he was like so into it and so confident. You could just tell he wanted to be the guy. And during the game, I just think he has such a swagger. And I feel like even if he makes a mistake, he'd be like able to brush it off and just be like, all right, whatever, I got this. And I think that's going to be huge.
So then the big question is, did Zaire make you a better quarterback, Molly, at the end of Football 101?
Championship round.
Oh, wow. Championship round.
I did, yes. And it's funny because last year when both Zaire and Golson were there, I could not, like, they had like a little net set up with like the 3 like holes that you're supposed to throw it into, and I could not for the life of me do it. And I was like, okay, I'm just like a competitive person. I was like, I have to get this. So Zaire spent like a dedicated 20 minutes just to me, like helping me throw it in. And I was like, holy crap, this guy's so nice. He's probably like, she's awful, but we bonded because I'm also from Ohio. So, and I'm left-handed. So we're like, you know, we're tight.
Oh yeah.
So,
it's like, I'll show you how to do this. I know how this works.
I got this. Yeah. So when I came back this year, he actually like remembered me, and I made him proud. So yeah, he did. He made me a better quarterback. I think he's going to be just what this team needs, confidence-wise. And yeah, his arm is what I was worried about, honestly, because I had heard people like whisperings like, oh man, I hear he's not the most accurate passer on the team. I'm like, well, crap. Who is the most accurate passer? Like, this isn't what I want to hear. So I was kind of like watching the game, like, all right, we'll see how this is. And wow, again, any doubts that I had, any doubts that anyone had, I think got put to rest, which is awesome. I was saying on Twitter too, I'm like, crap, I'm getting those like grandiose football thoughts. I need to like maybe calm it down a little bit first game, but I don't think that's
like,
wrong.
Yeah, wait a second. It's like we're used to something terrible is going to happen later. Let's not get too happy about it. Yeah, that's always in the back of all of our minds. It's terrible.
There's like no like right attitude to have toward anything. I feel like it's like yes, maybe no, I don't know. But yeah, oh, I know what else I was gonna say. We're all over the place. So Zaire, I think, is very confident. And when you compare Golson to Zaire, this was Zaire's second career start, which you would have never guessed at all.
Oh yeah.
Like, yes, he's been in games, but to like start and have it on your shoulders the entire time. Again, I think that's actually like a good thing for Zaire. I think he liked knowing that he was the guy from the beginning, and you would have not ever guessed that was only a second career start.
Yeah, and I know we always on the staff were try to chat, and somebody's brought up the idea is like, hey, does he kind of remind you of a Manti Te'o? just in, and not so much, I think the leadership styles are a little bit different, but it's that kind of infectious rallying around somebody leadership, which we talked about that last season. Who's going to fill in the Te'o void? Who's going to step in and be a leader? And we really couldn't figure that out for a couple seasons. There's zero doubt about who it is now.
Exactly.
It's Zaire. And you have young offensive linemen running after him on a touchdown celebration, falling on his face.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen that, check out the highlight. Yeah, check out the highlight video on Her Little Sons that we have today, because that's one of the best parts of it. That and us making great jokes that the solid verbal helped tee up for us. So just absolutely great. And yeah, it's infectious with him, and everybody seems to have really bought in, which I don't want to say that maybe people didn't like Golson being the quarterback, but some people are starting to get that feeling. I don't know how much stock you can put into that, but there's no doubt Zaire gets a response. I think that's the bottom line. He gets a response out of people. But yeah, like you said, I want to see how he reacts when something does go wrong, because that's going to be the true test. It's always easy to be the Brett Favre. He's just a kid being a gunslinger, having fun out there. Exactly. Yeah, when you're have as many incompletions as touchdowns, pretty easy to do that.
Exactly, yeah. So hopefully he responds well. Let's see. So we've talked a lot about offense. There's obviously the entire other side of the ball, the defense, which I thought was incredibly impressive. But we have to remember that we were starting off a lot better than we were ending last year. So thank God.
Yeah, and we need to do the Van Gorder creepy eyes right now. I don't know what the hell that was. But yeah, how about
definitely an internet meme just waiting to happen.
Without a doubt. But yeah, incredible work. And granted, we knew that there was going to be a chance that the Texas offensive line was going to be a tire fire, and the offense in general wasn't going to be that great. But still, we had a lot of questions about Van Gorder's defense, overall as a scheme. And I still need to sit down and take a look. It's like, okay, did he simplify it? Is he still, subbing people in and out more? I'm going to have that super, super, super critical viewing. And that's something that's going to display over time. And of course, we want to see it against a much better offense.
Exactly.
Especially, the big test that we're all looking forward. Well, I don't know if we're looking forward to. Scared to death of may be more accurate, but that's Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
When we get that triple option offense, he struggled against Navy last season. What are we going to do when now it's big, strong athletes that can run this triple option, and they're one of the best offenses in college football because Paul Johnson has that down to his science. That's going to be the big test, but. Yeah, I tell you what, even with Texas offense being bad, they made them look like an FCS joke. Texas is now at the bottom of all of college football, and the only way that can change is if Ohio State here in about half an hour or so, because we're recording this on Monday night, goes out and embarrasses Virginia Tech in the same fashion. Other than that, Texas is going to be the worst offensive team in college football because of Notre Dame. Now, tell me anybody had that prediction.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, obviously the defense does need a bigger test, but I'm always like that person because there's obviously people in my life that aren't the biggest Notre Dame supporters, and I'm always that person that's like, well, if they can't do it against Texas, they can't do it against anyone, so at least it was a good place to start. I always take that route.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that because if you can't take advantage of a young offensive line, who can you take advantage of?
Right.
And Tillery got a sack, so we have a freshman that got a sack.
I know, the freshmen were showing up.
Yeah, Sheldon Day was practically camped out behind the offensive line.
Yeah, he was.
So, and it really didn't appear that, and we did bring some pressure. Jalen Smith was all in the backfield too, so there was definitely blitzes, but it felt like there was an actual pass rush. And again, we're going to qualify saying that, yes, there's freshmen all over that line.
Yeah.
The upperclassmen on that line looked terrible as well. So nobody had a good game for Texas on that line. Swoops had terrible pocket presence. He didn't know what he was doing back there either. So, just a complete disaster. And something else that I haven't mentioned is that, Charlie Strong, tried to change up his offensive scheme a little bit, going to more of a spread look. So he's even messing with an offense that wasn't that great to begin with, a la Weiss, when he tried to, install something he wasn't comfortable with, although he reverted within a half of football. Texas went down with that ship. So we'll see what happens with them next week, but they could be absolutely terrible all season long. And then Notre Dame faces a competent offense and we say, okay, we had some smoke and mirrors game one.
Right. Exactly. I think that's going to, like you said, the real test will probably be Georgia Tech. Notre Dame goes to Virginia this coming Saturday. I don't really know much about them. We never played them before.
They played UCLA and it went about like it was predicted. They scored more points than Texas, so we should point that out. They were actually able to put together something that looked like an offense. So I can't believe I'm saying this. Virginia will be a little bit of a bigger test than Texas since they are
progressing here. We'll have Virginia and then we'll have Georgia Tech.
I have a feeling, though, that's not like a little step here, a little step here.
Exactly. It'll be like a big jump.
It's going to be more like coming from way down here to somewhere up there to all the way to the top there, and then Clemson will be right up there as well. So, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
And we can still say it's untested. So if you're one of those people that wants to be, I want to say pessimistic, but they still need to show me more, totally with you there.
Exactly. Perhaps realistic. I agree. Yes, we can't make too many, no one could make any conclusions after the first game, regardless of if they did have a hard opponent anyway, but we're just being excited here. So that's a better way to be.
Take advantage of it while we can, right?
Yes, there have been other first games against lesser opponents that didn't go so well. So we're going to cling to this.
Exactly. And this is exactly. That's what people wanted, is beat the inferior opponents by a lot. And we blew them out.
Really embarrassed Texas. So it's what we wanted at home. So yay. Trying to think of some other things that I wanted to discuss. This is just a random thing, but I was just wondering your thoughts on it because I wish I could credit whoever tweeted it because them tweeting it did give me a lot of enjoyment. Someone said, if you're bored, look up the Texas fans' reaction to Brian Kelly icing the kicker. So I'm like, okay, let's search this. And it was completely hilarious. They were like pissed off does not even begin to describe it. And I understand it to an extent, but oh my goodness, whoever tweeted that, thank you, because that provided me with much entertainment. But yeah, so Brian Kelly used 2 timeouts to ice the Texas kicker, and it actually worked, which there's like some statistic that it like never works, but 3rd time's the charm, and he didn't make it. One, we hardly ever have timeouts to even use to ice a kicker, so I was like, oh wow, this is a cool little option we have here. It didn't bug me too much. I mean, I know that people think that's kind of a dick thing to do, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, it's a total dick move, and it's usually because it doesn't ever work, and that's if you
Right.
have. But for most of the case, you know, it doesn't work, but that's a qualifier. If there's a kicker halfway worth their salt, it never works.
Mhm.
But, you know, obviously Texas kicker isn't terrible.
Right.
It was one of those things to where I think Brian Kelly was like, I want to keep the score as low as possible. So to hell with it, I'm going to do it. And it was one of those things where you're like, I really hope this works, because otherwise he's going to look like a gigantic ass.
I know. And then it actually did work, and I was kind of shocked that it did. I was like, crap, that's hilarious.
So it's one of those things, and I think it goes for a lot of things in college football, like going for it on a 4th down that was super risky, or calling for a fake punt or fake field goal. You look like a genius and a Jedi if it works. That like.
Right.
I just knew it was only a matter of time before he was going to choke, because his first 2 kicks, he drilled right down the center. Like,
I know.
And that's usually what happens is the timeout happens, and then, you know, the kicker hears the whistle and they yank it. But nope, not in this case. He drilled the first 2, and the 3rd one was wide left. As you said later, even
a wide left one. And so then I was like, well, that's some sort of like karma. So whatever, we're even.
Right. Yeah, but our kicker was a freshman who earlier did make a field goal though. So Yoon, he's not going to be perfect, unfortunately.
No, I was impressed with him too, though. Again, we have all these freshmen popping up. I felt bad. Like, kind of was like, did I miss last season? Because I definitely don't know this person. Whoops. I swear, I don't know how other Notre Dame fans feel. I know the offseason usually feels like a million years long, but I feel like I don't know. Like, usually I, am really missing football, and it's not that I didn't miss it, but I'm usually like studying up, feel like it's forever long. I thought this one was really fast, hence why I have no idea who anyone is, but I'm learning quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good news is, though, I mean, we have a lot of familiar faces, so I think now it stands out more when you're like, wait a second, like
That's
me, I was like, I know that we have 2 freshman running back, but I'm not sure who 33 is because I don't have the roster memorized.
Daniel, no. Like,
yeah. Right, no, that was not Cam. That was definitely not. He was just a little bit faster and a little bit more elusive than Cam. The running style is completely different.
But it doesn't give the same face as Cam. So.
Right, yeah. Well, you never know. He may, against Southern Cal, that helmet will pop out and he'll just look dreamy as well, and it'll be the legend of the 33s at Notre Dame. But I think it stands out more when you're so used to seeing the faces all around the field. Once you finally hit the one you don't know, you're like, Oh,
you feel like a very incompetent fan.
Right. Well, it got to this level to where, I wasn't used to seeing number 6 running around the field for Kaviri Russell. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. He's playing again.
Exactly.
So it's things like that. But, yeah, and see, my excuse, though, is I had a kid, so I'm not able to memorize the roster, though. But
that's true.
Hey, I mean, but you're, got the nursing graduation, you got the full job, and trying to get used to doing – yeah, trying to get used to not only that, you having to work the late shifts a lot too.
I know. Third shift is very weird. Adult life. Yeah,
well, not just adult life. I don't know if I can handle doing the second shift. I'll be honest. That's rough.
So. It is very well. It's so funny because I worked. So now I have to try to think because it's third shift. So you like start one day and get out the next day. I worked Friday into Saturday, and so like when midnight hit, I was like, it's game day, and I had like my little like Notre Dame tag on and. It's like midnight. I'm dancing around the NICU. I'm like, guys, it's game day. I don't think
right.
But I was hyped.
And then you're like, okay, then I need to schedule a nap so I can make sure I'm awake for the.
Exactly. I know. Confession. I fell asleep during the fourth quarter. I did.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. At that point, I had a lot of fussy baby stuff going on too. So, but things were well in hand. We got the backups in, and things got very vanilla.
If you fall asleep during the fourth quarter, things are going well because other people would fall asleep during the fourth quarter. And then when I watched it the next morning, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't miss too much.
Yeah. So
by that time, we had it pretty well wrapped up.
Definitely. So yeah. But yeah, as far as icing the kicker, man, we did go off on tangents. We're back in mid-season tangent running form right now.
We are. We're talking about babies and jobs and yeah.
But yeah, icing the kicker, dick move. Hilarious that it worked. I'm no Texas fan. I'm an Aggie fan. So watching Texas suffer makes me happy. So therefore, great.
And they suffered pretty bad. And they traveled really well. So I was kind of like ticked that there were so many fans there. But then like, you know what? If you traveled and you had to see that, I'm a little happier.
Well, how do you feel about that? Maybe that's another topic to jump off.
Well, it's funny. So I watched Brian Kelly's press conference and someone asked him about it and they're like, how'd you feel? And he flat out was like, I was pissed. He was like, I was looking around and I was like, what the hell? And then he was like, but it was funny because he said something like, well, maybe it's just because the game hadn't started and I didn't have anybody to yell at yet, which I just thought was hilarious. He was just like very like matter of fact about it, like, well, I didn't have any player to be mad at yet. But he commented on it as well, just that there was so much burnt orange. And then he said that he felt better because he looked at the student, like the Notre Dame student section, which is always huge, overwhelming. They show up really early. So he's like, okay, then I felt better. But yeah, I was like shocked. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Texas has a very storied program. I think overall, my dad was telling me this earlier, they have like 841 wins and Notre Dame has like, I don't know. Bottom line is it's, you know, Michigan, Notre Dame, and Texas. We're all top 3 for wins. And right. So therefore, you know, they're a very storied program as well. And I was just thinking, like, I guess, you know, any excuse to make it up to Notre Dame's campus, you're going to go. But I was very shocked. Well, I saw people tweeting about it, like, oh, there's a lot of burnt orange. I'm like, yeah. How burnt orange can there be? And I was like, holy crap.
Right. There was a few. And I know around here, I mean, it was outside of Notre Dame fans. It was a big deal to, it's, hey, this is a great chance to go up to, I mean, it's a bucket list area still. And regardless of if there's field turf, people, you know, I will make that little dig that there's field turf and there's construction, but people do not care because it's the mystique of Notre Dame is not centered around the playing surface. It's everything around it.
Right. It's just everything. Yeah.
So, and as far as the Texas fans showing up, though, I think the factor is that the ticket prices on the secondary market shot up so high.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And apparently there was like a line of private jets just flying in to South Bend. Yeah. So there must have been some serious oil money for my home state coming out there like crazy to where people were just buying it up because I forgot who tweeted this. It was one of the writers that is one of the beat writers for Notre Dame saying, you know, hey, I'll be honest. I think that no Notre Dame fan that really, really wanted to go to this game after a certain time really couldn't find an avenue to get it because I think things dropped down at the tail end based on what he said. I don't know if this is true or not, but he says is that I feel like the Notre Dame fans that really wanted to go found a way to finally get to go. So it was just artificial inflation at the beginning, but the Texas fans, because it was a 4-game series. Now it's only 2 since the last 2 are in question. So the next one's going to be in Austin. So this is your chance to see
to get out there.
So, and you never know when the next one's going to be because heck, we're scheduling our quote unquote out of conference all the way into the 2020s now.
Right.
So
it's definitely like one of the most expensive tickets of the year, which I thought was shocking, but
right. It was
opening game against Texas. I don't know.
500 apiece. And like you said, it's the top 3 programs in winning percentage. In Texas at one point, not only had Notre Dame lost the winning percentage to Michigan when I was in school, they got overtaken by Texas because things were going so bad. You know, thankfully Notre Dame's back on top where they should be now.
Yeah, exactly.
That number. But as even in sheer number of wins, I think it's Michigan still has number 1 since they were playing against anything that moved in the 1800s. And then it's Notre Dame, and I think, or maybe Yale and then Notre Dame. I know those are the other 2. So yeah, I mean, in major college football or college football in general, it doesn't get any more historical and storied than that. Right. And I tell you what, people think, and Notre Dame does have plenty of money to throw around, but you got to remember the University of Texas is a university that we're talking an enrollment in the tens of thousands, and Notre Dame is below 10,000.
Right.
So you have a better percentage of getting those high dollar alumni, and not only that, you got the high dollar boosters that just want to be a part of the program too because they grew up. It's they call them here like you've heard the Walmart Wolverine fan. There's Walmart Texas fans too.
Yeah.
some of those, they can end up being influential as well. And the boosters are super, super powerful around here. So
yeah,
I have a feeling that's why there were so many that, people were being and knew they could make a profit, which sucks. I don't think you should do that personally.
Right.
One, the ticket office says, no, you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
They can revoke your rights if they manage to ever catch you. I'm one, because I got tickets in the lottery, but I gave them to a buddy of mine because he wanted to go. So that was the only reason I applied for the tickets, was to get, another Notre Dame fan to be able to go there. And that's kind of my stance too. And I know Oak had it out. It's like, the answer should always be, if an opposing fan wants to come and take your tickets, is no, thank you, go Irish, and give them to either you go or give them to somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
So that's my stance on that. So there's yet another tangent for us to go on.
It's a good one though. We're covering so much in this. Did you think we were just going to talk about the game? Then you haven't listened or watched.
You haven't watched a single episode before.
Basically, Malik's great. We need a bigger test. That's like what we've come to the conclusion of, and then we've covered everything else. So
right? Yeah.
We've been on so many tangents. I'm not. What would you like to cover? Is there anything you'd like to throw in there?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what we got left, because we got offense, we got defense covered. Is it MVP time, or is there another topic we're not thinking about? Oh, I got one.
Okay, yeah.
And this is for you, because I said before we should talk uniforms when we have the chance, because UT, in my opinion at least, is a very classic uniform type team. Even getting comments in my living room about how the numbers had a nice metallic shine to them. So, you're the fashion expert. This is a supposed classic. How does this one go for you?
Okay, so I loved the shade of orange on the Texas uniforms, but I did not like the size of the logo on the helmet. Weird, nitpicky. I thought it was really small. And I thought that in Texas, it was like everything's bigger.
Everything's bigger but your helmet logo, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. They have a very iconic logo. It just looks small to me. I know it's weird, but just something I noticed.
I think it's always been that size.
Has it?
To be
I don't know. It
honest,
looks small for some reason.
It didn't look off to me. Maybe I need to see another picture, but I didn't key in on that. But then again, I do not have.
I guess it was just like the ratio of the size of their like actual Longhorn logo to like, how you always have like the other random logos on your helmet. To me, it just looked like the same size, and I was like, that should be standing out. But I do that orange is a really hard color to pull off, and I will give it to them that I liked the metallic shine to it, but I'm not a fan of like white pants. I know they're like, it was like their away uniform, but I don't like white pants.
It was still before Labor Day, though. I mean, they can still get away with it, right?
So they followed that. But I just don't like white pants. But I mean, it's all white. It was fine. For an opponent's uniform, I won't completely tear it up. I've seen worse.
Okay, yeah, we have seen worse. We've seen worse on Notre Dame before.
We have seen worse on Notre Dame. I thought our pants were a little weird.
Yeah, how did you feel about that? I saw a handful of opinions and it always seems to, and it's because I think it's just so hard to make a gold pant without it going like basically like the helmet. You either go all the way or you're trying to do some weird shade of yellow/brown.
Right, exactly. I didn't dislike it by any means. I'm still like gathering my thoughts on it, but to me, like I swear it was like the first play and someone already had like butt sweat. I'm not even kidding. I was like, is that the color of the pants?
That's very John Madden of you right there, but isolating the butt sweat on the big guys.
Seriously, I'm just saying. I was like, maybe they really put in some drills before this game. I don't know. They're just weird. And then someone was saying that they're like two-tone. I don't know. I
saw some two-tone comments that I didn't see. I thought it was a butt sweat thing.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like, are they making a joke? Like, because I think they're just sweating, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I think the problem is that it's not a problem because I love gold, all gold, everything. But it's just hardened fabric to make like a metallic gold, like you said. So I think like it's a pretty good compromise. I'm just getting used to it because it's kind of darker, I feel like, than what we were doing previously.
Yeah, I like things that deviate from going to yellow. That I will say. Exactly. I think when we've gone the more yellow side, it felt all wrong.
Right.
But on the same note,
this definitely is like, I think this suggests gold a lot more.
Yeah, but
It's
you
not
don't want to
too
go brown. You don't want to go brown. I think that's the danger. It's like you got to find that middle ground, and I think it's almost impossible to be able to figure that out. But hey, Under Armour's trying. I'll give them that. I think Under Armour's been fantastic. And I found out, damn, I wish I had it with me because we put it in the kids' hamper. My grandpa decided to bring over, I kid you not, Under Armour makes onesies for Notre Dame. And it was a onesie because eventually I'm going to have to take a picture of this because this is the best thing. But we wash anything our kid gets before he puts it on. It's a collared shirt. It is a collared shirt that's made out of the same material as the sideline shirts that they wear out there. It's that real thin, lightweight material. But Under Armour makes this. It's like, yeah, I got something for my grandson for football season.
That's
I'm like,
adorable.
I cannot believe they make this because I've given the shirt people. I was like, you should make a onesie in the shirt. I would buy that immediately. I had no idea Under Armour did that. So incredible. Yeah. So I'm very happy that Under Armour.
That's hilarious. So it's actually like a collared shirt.
It is it is the sideline style.
Like a button? That's
yeah. There's a button, one little button on it. But yeah, it's
adorable.
It is in the navy blue, sideline polo style, like you would see.
+5 Under Armour. I like that.
Yeah, no joke. So for 3 to 6 months, so basically the season, he's going to be styling every now and then in there.
Heck yeah, I do like your idea for the shirt onesie.
Yeah, things you don't think about until you're about to have a kid or have a kid, and you're like, hey, wait a second. Even I'm a pro wrestling fan. I'm like, wait, even the wrestling people don't have onesies. They're missing out on a whole opportunity here. It's like
a whole missed market.
It's like, look, when you get fanatical enough about things, you will buy things that you're only going to use once or twice.
You want to brainwash your infants. Hello.
Exactly.
You want clothes to do it.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, all right, we got that. Is it MVP time now, or am I missing a topic?
I think I'm good. MVP time. So we'll start with offense.
You want me to lead it off?
I can lead it off.
All right, go for it. I have a feeling it's going to be the same.
Yeah, Malik Zaire for offense.
Yeah, how can you not? I mean,
yeah,
a great hat tip because, I mean, you can't. Will Fuller had 2 touchdowns. Josh Adams had a pair. But I'm sorry, 3 incompletions and 3 touchdown passes. Incredible. You got to give it to him. You can't. Zaire is now on Stuart Mandel put him on his short list for Heisman watch list. He wasn't even on there before. So now he's getting Heisman talk because of one game. You got to give it to him.
Pretty legit. Yep, that earns you an HLS TV MVP.
Right.
Almost as cool as being on someone's Heisman watch list. Cooler, actually.
We'll have to have the HLS Heisman watch list full of Notre Dame players because we really don't care about anybody else.
Love it. We're not homers, guys.
No, not at all.
Unbiased. Defensive MVP. You can go first this time. I'll be a gentleman.
Oh, you'll be a gentleman and let the gentleman go first.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, I'm going to give it to Jalen Smith because he was super disruptive in the backfield, and the reason I'm giving it to him is because if this defense is going to be successful, he's got to be the guy that steps it up big and closes out and makes plays. And he had one hit on swoops to where the entire living room full of my family just went, ooh, when he just drilled him because
it had that really good sound too. That sounded like a really good tackle.
Yeah, so he played great. There's loads of people on the defensive line rather that did fantastic, but Jalen Smith was causing havoc in the backfield. He was closing in. It's what we've always expected for him, and we didn't have that moment of, man, I haven't heard Jalen Smith's name mentioned at all tonight. It was mentioned all night long. He was everywhere. He did great. So that's going to be my MVP.
Yep, you took mine.
Oh, really?
For all the same reasons. I mean, it's a good thing. We agree. Yeah, and Twitter all night long. I love it because it was Jalen murder train all night. You know you're following the right people like when 6 of the tweets are like the same. I'm like, yes, you're my people.
Yeah, we're all happy. That's the best part.
Exactly.
I just like, damn it, Jalen, where you get about 20 of those right back there.
Right. The best is fat guy touchdown, though. You just get 30 of those because everybody who doesn't love a fat guy touchdown.
Yeah, because you've heard of the Piesman Trophy, right? That SB Nation is doing. Okay, so I've mentioned this briefly on the roundup before, and it was one of the moment of Nick's because if you're going to name something the Piesman, how can you not do that? but it's for big guys doing unbig guy like things. So fat guy touchdowns are definitely a big inspiration. But I mean, it could be a big fumble recovery that just goes for massive yardage. Somebody like big guy chasing down somebody and stops a touchdown for an interception.
I like
so
that.
I really want somebody to end up on the Piesman watch list. And if I got anyone, Sheldon Day would be on my Notre Dame Piesman watch list because he is causing so much havoc in the backfield. He is going to be around a fumble at some point, and he's going to take it to the house.
I like that. Now I have other things to watch for.
Yeah, you gotta watch for the big men being able to do something. It's to celebrate, but it's not just like a goofy blog thing where they're gonna I would do or what we would do here at the MVPs. There's actually going to be a trophy. They're actually going to have a ceremony, and they will be serving pie.
This
thing
awesome.
Is incredible. I don't know.
Like an invite.
Yeah, I don't know how they pulled this together.
I like pie.
And somebody and like they had a FAQ section like the NCAA cool with this. Like, yeah, it's like any other award ceremony. So
that's hilarious. Is this gonna be televised? Is this a thing?
I'm they have to live stream it. They just have to. How can you not? I want to watch that. I would watch that over the Heisman Award show.
Right. I'm so looking forward to this. This is awesome.
That's going to be great. So I really want Sheldon Day. You're our Heisman hopeful.
Yes,
bring it home for the Irish.
Yes, we're pulling for you. Awesome. I think that is a perfect note to wrap up on.
Oh yeah.
Trophy.
Yeah, so I mean we'll be back next week at some point. So the schedule is, at least for now, we're going to try to air this every Wednesday. That is the hope, to kind of be that nice middle ground to, wash over one more time or be angry one more time about the goings on for the game before and move on to next week. So hopefully that'll be our nice happy place for the rest of the year. And as for the HLS recap, I have no idea, but we'll tell you why later. But it is in progress and being worked on as I speak right now. So
awesome. Sounds good. Well, it was a great first episode. Thank you everyone for watching and or listening, and we can't wait to be back next week. Go Irish.
Be Cavaliers.